All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Summer Medical Traineeship partnered with PCC. This is a tight-knit class of 9 students, so we will all be working together closely, and it's very appreciated if you would turn on your cameras. That'll make it easier for everyone to get to know each other. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Kyla Zhang, and I'm an incoming junior at Lake Oswego High School. I worked with Dr. Lowe and the PCC instructor Andrew Chang for making this class available to all of us. In the past year, I know COVID has made it very difficult for all of us to do in-person internships or shadowing with health professionals. So instead, I thought it would be a good idea to bring all the health professionals to us through Zoom. I would like to sincerely thank 3 people for helping me make this happen. Firstly, Dr. Lowe helped get the state grant to fund this class, and she also helped set up this program with PCC. Secondly, Andrew Chang, our class advisor from PCC, has worked very hard to make this a credit class at PCC. And lastly, but the most important, one of the most important people, Dr. Flaherty, our first class leader. He gave us this PBL idea during our conversations, and he has been rated as one of the best doctors in the US, and he loves his fields and is passionate about geriatrics and healthcare for the elderly. He is a former St. Louis University professor of medicine specializing in geriatrics and is currently a Regional Director of Geriatrics for Envision Physician Health Services in Dallas, Texas, as well as the Professor of Geriatrics for the University of Texas Southwestern, also located in Dallas. I'm very happy that he's going to lead our first PBL class today. And without further ado, the floor is yours, Dr. Flaherty.
Thank you. Thank you. Is everybody here? Because I can't see everybody, but there we go. Oh, that's great. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Well, welcome. So glad you could join. And I'll start off maybe by just describing geriatrics, a couple minutes of what I do. And then I'd like each one of you just to tell me your name, and then I'll ask you a question to answer that I'll get to know you that way. So geriatric physician, all physicians go to medical school. And if you're thinking about that, that happens after college. Most medical schools are 4 years. And then after medical school, doctors typically do what's called a residency, where they're mostly in the hospital under the supervision of a professor or somebody, but they're actually taking care of patients, writing orders, doing surgeries, doing all that stuff. And residencies vary anywhere from 3 years up to 6, 7, 8, 9, depending on what you want to go into. I did my residency after med school in internal medicine, which was 3 years. And then to be a geriatric specialist, back then we did 2 years more of training, where we all took care of all older patients that way. So then I was at St. Louis University, as Kyla said, and then I'm down here about 3 years. My current position, I spend all my time in the hospital, 90% in the hospital, and I see patients who have this problem we're going to talk about on a daily basis. And the hospital doctors, they're the ones that call me when they see this kind of a problem, and then I try to help them out to get the patient better. I do spend 5 or 10% of my time. I go to an assisted living here in Dallas, and we'll talk about what that is, what an assisted living is, if you're interested, if you have a question. Okay, so do you want to go one by one? You all have the same screen I do? We can go, no, okay, how about I'll say your name and then you can tell me how to really pronounce your name. And then tell me what grade in school you are. And then my question for each of you is to give me 1 or 2 lines describing an older person that you know, either a family or a friend, And it doesn't have to be someone you admire. If you admire them, you can say, I admire them. If they kind of bother me, but they're still my old grandpa. But just give me a 1 or 2 line of some older person that you know from experience. Okay, how about we start from the oldest to the youngest? How about Joshua? Joshua G. Who's Joshua?
All right, here.
Okay, hi Joshua.
Hi. So sorry, his name and like a line from a person who's older.
Yeah, do you know
Yeah.
somebody in your family or a friend? Make it easy.
You want one or two lines?
One person. Do you have a grandma or a grandpa? Grandmother, grandpa?
Yeah.
Okay.
This line is like a quote that they said or something like that.
No, just 1 or 2 lines that describe them to you.
Oh, that described them to me. Okay. Sure. I'll go with my grandma. So she lives in China right now, and she's been a pretty inspirational figure to me. And so that's how I describe her, as an inspiration in my life.
Great. Where in China does she live?
Shanghai.
Shanghai. Okay. Have you visited her?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Very good, Joshua. How about Dai Wei? Dai Wei Wang? Who is Dai Wei?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dai Wei. I use he, him pronouns. And my grandparents, my grandpa and grandma from Xiamen has taken care of me when I was like born until I was 5 years old. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of them. And my grandma is like, I don't know, I guess she's smart. That's how I would describe her, and kind. And my grandpa is like more aloof.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Dai Wei. Very good description. And Hannah Ma?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Hannah. Can you hear me all right? Okay, lovely. Sorry for any background. I'm currently at work, but I'm about to be an incoming freshman at Northwestern University, and I guess I'll describe my grandfather, who also had a very big role in like raising me as a child. I'd say he's sharp, intelligent, curious, and very much adventurous.
Great. Where does he live?
He lives in Portland currently, not in the same house, but in the same city as us, but he's planning on moving back to China in Beijing permanently in a few months.
Oh, neat. Okay, thank you, Hannah. And Lan Hong? Huang?
Hello. Sorry, my network wasn't working so well, so.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my network wasn't working so well, so.
Okay. You have a grandmother or grandfather you could tell us about?
Yeah, I have a grandma who lives in China. So I didn't hear what we were supposed to talk about. So.
Describe them in 1 or 2 sentences.
Oh, okay. As of now, my grandma is very healthy. She's a very open person. Has a good view of like her life in the world. So, yeah.
Great. Okay. Very good. Where does she live in China?
In southern China, so like near. She lives in Guangzhou.
Okay. Guangzhou. And Kyla, you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so my grandparents, they're very genuine, very kind, and just very helpful. Yeah.
Okay, where do they live?
Zigong in like Chengdu area, China.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you, Kyla. And Xinyi Huang?
Hi everyone. My name is Huang Qingyi, but you can call me Cindy. That's my English name. I'm 16 and I'm a rising junior at Lake Oswego High School. Um, both sets of grandparents of mine like live in China, so I don't have that many opportunities to interact with them. But I suppose like my grandfather on my mom's side, he's like really energetic. He runs around a lot and takes care of like all my cousins and stuff, and he's really headstrong and he likes his alcohol. So
Is Baijiu? He drinks Baijiu?
yeah, I guess. Don't know my alcohol that well, so.
Okay, your Chinese alcohol. Well, thank you. All right, Cindy, thank you. And Megan Tian?
Yeah, hi, I'm Megan. I'm an incoming junior at Lakeridge High School, and my grandparents are also all in China. I would describe them like they're very generous with their time and energy, and they also like to go on walks a lot. Like they're probably more active than I am.
Okay, wow. And I forget, where are they living in China?
They live around Winshan, which is like 4 hours away from Kunming.
Okay. And Cindy, we forgot to ask you where your grandparents live.
My dad's side lives in Shanghai. My mom's side lives in Jinhua, which is in Zhejiang province.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. And Sophie Feng?
Yes. My name is Sophie, and I have a grandma, and she recently went back to China, so she's quarantining in a hotel right now. But I would describe her as hardworking, and she helped take care of me when I was younger, so I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, very good. Where does she live currently? Where in China is she?
I actually don't know because she recently just took a flight back to China, and I think she's in a hotel right now, but she lives usually in Liaoning, I think.
Okay. All right, good enough. Good enough. Thank you. And Yen Kai?
Hi, I'm Yan Kai. I'm a rising sophomore at Oregon Episcopal School, and I describe like all my grandparents as really loving, really caring, but also really like hardworking. Both sides of my grandparents love to cook, and they make really good food all the time. And yeah, dedicated, hardworking.
Okay, where do they live?
Both sides are from Xi'an, Shanxi province.
Xi'an, that's great. Great. Okay. Thank you, Yan Kai. And a question for the group. You can just raise your hand if you know. Do you know how old your grandparents are, roughly? Okay. Are any of them in their 80s? 80s? Anybody? 80s? Few?
Close, not quite.
Okay. Wow, great. Anybody in their 90s? Maybe not.
My great grandma was before she passed away.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And all the rest of you, are there your grandparents in their 70s or 60s, something like that? Okay. Okay, very good. All right. A little introduction. Keeping track of the time. This will take another 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a few minutes. PBL, problem-based learning. Have you all done problem-based learning before? Little. Okay, some. Okay. I'll give you my opinion that way as the teacher, the guide here. This is where we'll take problem-based learning. To me, it's very self-directed. It's not it might be very different than a typical class that you take. Your typical class, I imagine they give you terms and definitions and explanations, and then they give you a bunch of questions to answer. As you probably know, problem-based learning goes in the opposite direction. We're going to give you the questions, and you're going to search randomly and then kind of narrow the search, the research, and you're going to come up with some of the terms and explanations and definitions yourself. Really good PBL actually teaches the teacher much more than the teacher teaches the student. So I can't wait to see some of your slides so I can learn more about this area. One think that's my, oh, I'm going to emphasize something called critical thinking. Some of you familiar with critical thinking? And oh, by the way, as I throw out terms, if you are open to a computer, you want to Google something, you want to look up a definition, go ahead. I'm very open that you can use resources as we talk. You look in your phone, all that stuff. So one of my definitions of critical thinking is you analyze information that you're reading in a very critical way to see if it's true or not and why you think it is. As opposed to when you read textbooks like history books, you just have to kind of accept what's in the history book in order to take the test to pass the test. In medicine, we try to think about when you read a research study, you don't always believe what you read. You look at it, you analyze it, you question it, and if it meets your criteria for good, for truth, then you take it and use it later on. Okay, so don't be afraid to use your critical thinking hat as you start to research some of these questions. Okay, all right, now with that, let's go to the other part. Oh, explanation about the slideshow. So what we decided was we're going to split you into groups of 3. That'll be your working group. And each group, do you have the agenda in front of you by chance? Some of you? Okay, good. You'll see that group 1, 2, 3 gets various questions. And so the goal between now and the next class on Thursday is to make a PowerPoint slide for each of those questions, to answer the questions, 2 or 3 bullet points, if that. And then on each slide, put the reference where you got that information. It can be a website, it can be a research study, it can be a textbook, just so we all know, so we can critically think, where did they get this information? Okay. So does that make sense about the slideshow? Okay. So maximum would be 4 slides each group for the first class. Okay, with that in mind, you ready to look at the case? All right. How about, I'm going to randomly pick someone. How about, let's go, I'm going to go from top to bottom. Joshua, could you please read the first paragraph on the case, the PBL case?
Yep. All right. PBL case. Mrs. Laverne Johnson is an 84-year-old woman who recently moved into an assisted living facility about 1 month ago because she could no longer live at home by herself due to early Alzheimer's dementia. She still remembers who her daughter is, who now visits her once a week. Although she often forgets what year it is or the day of the week, she still walks around without a walker or cane, can make it to the dining room for meals, and join activities with other older people who live there.
Good. Very good. All right, Daiwei, could you read the second paragraph?
Let me just try to find where it is. All right. As already noted, her daughter visits her once a week on Fridays. She thinks her mother has adjusted to the new place. She met the doctor about a week ago when her mother saw the doctor at the assisted living for her initial new resident history and physical exam. However, the very next Friday, she notices her mom is just not right. She's more confused than usual. Her mom cannot find her room and doesn't seem to remember who she is. The daughter is as clearly as she used to. The daughter wants her sent to the hospital for further evaluation. That's where you meet Miss Laverne Johnson in the emergency room at 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon.
Okay, so I'm going to pretend you guys are 4th-year medical students, or you could be an intern, a fresh intern. So you're a doctor, your first year of internship, and it's Friday afternoon. You're in the emergency room. Typically, as medical students in their 4th year or interns, you do rotations month to month. And 1 month you might spend in the emergency room. Another month you might spend with a surgeon for a month, or an OBGYN delivering babies. So this month you happen to be in the emergency room, and the emergency room doctor says, go see this lady and talk to her, doing a history and physical, and come back and tell me what you think. So we'll get to that part in a minute, but first, any questions about the details of the case? Yes.
Is this before or after diagnostics went through? Like, was anything else found that was
Nothing
wrong?
nothing else was done. She got checked into the emergency room, and the nurse put her in a room, and she's laying on a gurney. That's all that's been done. Yeah, good question. Yeah, brand clean, spanking new for you.
Is early Alzheimer's her only like condition? Does she have any other previous conditions or like history of mental illness prior to being admitted?
Great question. No previous mental health problems. In fact, no other medical problems, not even hypertension or diabetes. No other medical illnesses at that point. Yeah, pretty healthy up until had to move into the assisted living. All right, so why don't we now, Kyle, I have a question. Did we decide on groups of 3 yet? Or do I need to divide people up?
I can make you host and you can make the breakout rooms.
Oh, can I do that?
Or I can make them and then.
Yeah, why don't we put one group with a 10th grader, 11th grader, 12th grader, 10th, 11th, 12th. So a good mixture there, good experience. All. So when we get ready for the breakout groups, you have the questions. Does everybody have the questions in front of you? Okay. Working, you guys probably have more experience than this working by distance in small groups. I guess in the breakout rooms, you'll be able to talk to each other, do some searches with each other. Is that right? So I don't want you dividing up, you know, you take question number 1, I take question 2, kind of work on each question together, talk about it. And why don't you work on question 1 and 2 in your small groups? And I'm going to set a time limit. Right now it's 3:24, 3:25. Why don't we plan to come back together at 3:35? So about 10 minutes. And I'm not going to tell you where to search yet. You guys try to figure it out. I will stay on the call. And then if this works, if you have a question during the 10 minutes, you can raise your hand. And I think I'll be able to help guide you as you start your search for the questions 1 and 2. Right. Somebody in the group has to volunteer to take notes, I guess, and then someone's going to have to make the PowerPoint. All right, you guys.
I'm kind of confused. So then every group makes a PowerPoint about the same 2 questions?
Correct. In fact, every group is going to make, like group 1 will make a PowerPoint slide for question 1, 2, 3, and 6 on the agenda. If you look on the agenda.
Okay, so 1 and 2, like everybody gets. Okay, got it.
Yeah, just for this next 10 minutes. I don't want the PowerPoint slide today. What I want today in the next 10 minutes is each small group will work on questions 1 and 2, just to start the search part of this project. And in about 10 minutes, you'll come back together. I don't want all the answers. I just want to know how the search is going. And then when we close today, your small groups will go off and continue to work and then solidify your search on your 4 questions and develop your PowerPoint. Is that more clear?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Makes sense. Okay. So yeah, these next 10 minutes, I just want you to brainstorm, search, how you searching, and then we'll see how that's going. Okay, Kyla, do we have 3 groups ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Let's see.
Oh. Okay. I'll make you host.
Okay.